Flash flooding continues to be a serious problem across many areas of central and eastern Kentucky. I'm tracking rounds of heavy rain-producing thunderstorms just ahead.
All this rain is causing high water problems across the state. We'll hear from one family trying to keep the water away from their home.
An unusual police chase in central Kentucky this morning. How a woman managed to steal a bucket truck while police chased her nearly 50 miles.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good afternoon to you. We are starting the 4th of July weekend off on a pretty wet note. More rounds of showers and storms are moving through our area, and right now flash flood warnings are out for many parts of the state.
And that's why we are continuing our First Alert Severe Weather Day. We begin now with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey. Drenched to say the least. Day after day of this stuff, Chris.
Yeah, really, Sam and Amber. It's been, as you mentioned, coming at us in waves for the past couple of weeks, really, and it's adding up to way too much water out there. Flash flood warning is out for parts of Fayette County until 7:30. Until 7:45, we have a aerial flood warning or a general flood warning for parts of Montgomery, Estill, and Powell counties. Flood warning is also out for sections of the London area back into Manchester of Clay County. Defender continues to light up with rounds of showers and thunderstorms that just keep on developing and moving over some of the same areas. Up close and personal across a line that is now getting a lot of my attention here from around Richmond through Danville, just to the south of Harrodsburg, back into Marion County, because not only is that line really ramping up, but it's getting additional support from some showers and thunderstorms out ahead of that. Look at the tremendous amount of rain and lightning showing up heading toward Richmond. This is an area that had some flooding earlier in the day. You may do it all over again. Richmond up into the Red House area of Madison County. Lexington Metro, some streets have had some water on them over the past little bit. Strongest thunderstorms, though, are just to our north and east. We'll keep an eye on that. Also watching southern Kentucky. Thunderstorms are now beginning to blossom here. London, Corbin, and Somerset, and then back to the west. And whatever's out there is going to continue to slowly roll in from west to east across especially central and southern parts of Kentucky. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell joins me now. Jim, you've been keeping track of the flood reports we've been getting throughout the day.
And I'll tell you what, southern and eastern Kentucky, that's been the primary area so far today, but we're now starting to see a little more spillover into central Kentucky as well. You can see on the storm reports behind me here, and we'll bring it up full screen here for you in a second. They are starting to really show up a little more aggressively right around our area as well. And there you can see one right into central sections of Kentucky, right here into the Lexington area. So we'll get you up to date on that and see what information comes specifically from this report, and that's going to be the one right along Loudon Avenue. Flash flooding reported a little while ago down there. We had some video of it in some of our earlier newscasts. That's one of the issues that we're running into here. Also along 68 in Mercer County, running into some high water issues along there. And if you do encounter any high water on a roadway, no matter any time, any situation, turn around, don't drown. You want to turn around as soon as you see that water and go in the opposite direction. You don't want any part of that because you don't know how deep it is. You don't know what kind of problems that could cause you. Sure, maybe you just get stuck, but what if you float away? Could be a very dangerous situation, and I'm afraid we might run into that, especially as we get to the nighttime hours, Chris.
Yeah, words to live by. Turn around, don't drown. Sam, Amber, we're going to continue to watch Defender. It's going to light up all evening long with heavy rain-producing thunderstorms.
Chris, thank you. As you just saw there, all this rain is causing problems for people across the state. Emergency crews have already helped with some water rescues.
Yeah, take a look. These are some pictures that were taken by our crews this afternoon in Clay City. You can see water is rising on several streets in that community, and the driver in one car actually had to be rescued after they became trapped in the high water. No one was injured. The water has since receded, but of course more rain is on the way for that area.
In Powell County, last night's storms causing some flash flooding problems for many people there. One family says they were getting ready for bed when the water started pouring in. Mike Linden is talking to them about their plans to relocate until the water goes down.
Following heavy rain almost every day this week in the Bluegrass, local creeks and streams are on the rise. And here in Powell County, both the Brush Creek and the Red River have risen to the point where water is coming over their banks. According to the National Weather Service, the Red River in Clay City crested at nearly 16 feet this morning, which led to flooding in nearby homes overnight. On 2nd Street, Tessa Ebersole and her family were getting ready to go to sleep when the water came in overnight. Ebersole says this is the second time her apartment flooded this year. She says nearly 6 inches of water covered the floor, all while her 10-month-old baby was sleeping.
My youngest here, Michaela, she sleeps in a playpen that's really, I mean, the bottoms of it are not very far off the ground. And thank God, you know, we were awake. And I mean, if the water had come up while we were sleeping, I mean, she might have drowned.
Eversole says the next step for her and her family is to find another place to live. She says either on top of a hill or a mountain or out of Powell County entirely. In Powell County, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Emergency officials say it can take less than a foot of water to sweep a car right off of the road. They say if you come across a flooded road, turn around, don't drown.
We are always tracking storms on WKYT.com, and you can as well. You can use an interactive radar to zoom all the way into your neighborhood. You can download WKYT News and radar apps to keep up with the weather when you're on the go. And you can share your pictures and video with us. Just email them to eyewitness@WKYT.com or use the hashtag KYWeather.
Some tense moments this morning in Lexington and Madison County. Police say a woman led them on a slow-speed chase for nearly 50 miles. Police say a man was filling up his bucket truck at the BP station on 8th and Boonesboro Road when a woman jumped in the driver's seat and took off. You're looking at Sky First video of the arrest. Sean Moody was there and has more now from police.
Kentucky State Police said this chase covered about 40 miles from this BP station along 8th and Boonesboro Road down to Richmond, then back to Lexington. The owner of that truck said he's just glad no one was seriously hurt. Police said the chase started after a woman jumped into the bucket truck at a gas pump. They say the driver had gone inside the store. When he noticed the woman pulling away, police said the man tried to stop her.
He jerked the door open, trying to get in. She stopped for some reason. When he opened the door, she floored it and took off and, you know, was kicking at him, and he hung on as long as he could. She drug him down the road.
Ricky Todd owns the truck. He said his worker called him from the gas station to tell him what happened. He rushed to I-75 just in time to see it go by.
I watched my truck go right underneath us, and I hopped in my pickup and we just followed the pursuit.
Police said the woman drove south on 75 to Richmond, then turned around and came back north, finally getting off at Newtown Pike back in Lexington. They had set out several spike strips and some tires were blown out. From there, they said they chased her along Newtown, Alexandria, and Leestown Road.
It was surreal. It just felt like O.J. Simpson all over again. You know, that's what it felt like.
A state police cruiser pulled in front of the truck on Leestown. That's when police say she ran into it, and the chase came to an end 40 miles after it began. Ricky was there to see police arrest the woman who they said was behind the wheel.
I looked at her through the police window and she laughed. So I guess she thought it was funny. Wasn't very funny to me.
In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
What a scene there. The truck's owner says that his worker was taken to the hospital to be checked out, but he expects that man to be okay.
The search continues tonight for a man who attacked a Lexington police officer. It happened around 7 this morning during a traffic stop on I-64 near the Southern Split. Police say the suspect and the officer got into an altercation and the suspect ran into the woods.
A major merger today in the healthcare industry involving one of Kentucky's largest employers. Aetna announcing it is buying Louisville-based Humana in a deal worth $37 billion. Jennifer Palumbo is at the live desk with reaction to the news. Jennifer, what does all this mean for Kentucky workers?
Well, that's the big question right now, Sam, for the 7,000 people who work at Humana in Louisville. The city is losing its corporate headquarters to Connecticut, where Aetna is based. Aetna says it will make Louisville its headquarters for Medicare, Medicaid, and TRICARE business, and pledges to maintain a significant corporate presence there. Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher says that's a huge win for the city, given the importance of those 3 government health care segments.
Consider that the combined revenue of the new company's business in the government sector will be larger than the existing revenue of Humana today. That bodes very well for local employment.
Governor Steve Beshears issued a statement that, in his words, I am cautiously optimistic that this merger will be a net positive for Louisville and the Commonwealth. Both Humana and Aetna are progressive, innovative companies in the healthcare field, and that bodes well for the new entity because of the rapidly changing healthcare landscape. The Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare, has meant more business because more Americans have health coverage, but experts say the law has also put more pressure on the healthcare industry profits, and that may be why so many of America's largest insurers are in deal talks right now. At the live desk, Jennifer Palumbo, WKYT.
If approved by regulators, Aetna would become the second largest managed care company. really is enough to make you think about getting into the water. This year, we have seen a record number of shark attacks off the Atlantic coast, and that has some 4th of July beachgoers very concerned.
Craig Boswell is in Ocean City, Maryland with the latest.
A record number of shark attacks has beachgoers on edge this holiday weekend. In Ocean City last week, a hammerhead shark patrolling the waters kept most people on the beach. Dan Durst brought his family to Ocean City for some fun in the sun. They're still going in the water, but he's keeping an eye out.
With the 2 young ones in the water, I've been keeping an extra eye on the surf just to make sure I don't see any dorsal fins sticking out.
This year, there have been 23 reported shark attacks in U.S. waters. In North Carolina alone, there have been 7 attacks in the past 3 weeks, the most ever recorded in the 80 years since the University of Florida began tracking shark attacks.
I don't go in too much.
It's
too cold, and there's sharks in there.
The National Park Service has advice for people heading to the beach this weekend. Stay close to the shore and swim in small groups.
I think you should be cautious, but not too scared about it.
Other safety tips from the National Park Service include avoid being in the water at twilight or at night, and don't wear shiny objects like jewelry. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Ocean City, Maryland.
Scientists don't know why there has been an increase in shark attacks. Some possible theories include sea turtle migration, the lunar cycle, and warmer water.
Many people all over the country are preparing for their 4th of July celebrations. Meanwhile, officials around the nation are increasing security. This comes just after a warning from security officials that July 4th celebrations could be targets for terror threats.
Ballot boxes are out and ready for Greece's referendum. The country will decide whether to accept creditor demands for bailout money or not. If they don't accept the bailout, Greece may no longer be part of the euro system. An opinion poll conducted by a Greek newspaper says Greeks are almost evenly split. Greece's prime minister called the referendum last weekend. He's advocating for people to vote no. The vote follows Greece's shutdown of all banks and limits daily withdrawals to just $67.
An experimental solar-powered plane finished a 5,000-mile trek across the Pacific Ocean today. The Solar Impulse 2 landed in Hawaii nearly 5 days after taking off from Japan. It's all part of an attempt to fly around the world without using fuel. Organizers say the Pacific leg of the trip is the world's longest and most dangerous solo flight. Organizers hope to complete the global journey by the end of this month.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Tomorrow is the 4th of July, a time for barbecues, backyard parties, and of course fireworks. But those celebrations of our nation's birthday can also be very dangerous. Thousands of people are injured each year, and experts say those injuries are preventable. CBS's Marley Hall reports.
I thought I was for sure going to have to get my eye taken out that night.
19-year-old Jamison Lamb knows firsthand the danger of fireworks. 3 years ago, he and his friends were setting off Roman candles when something went wrong.
One of the Roman candle shots ended up hitting me directly in the right eye.
The high school baseball star was blinded. His was one of 8,700 fireworks-related injuries that year. 60% of them occurred in the 4 weeks around July 4th.
The eye injuries from fireworks can be very severe.
Dr. Ann Summers is an ophthalmologist. She too knows the danger of fireworks, and not just to eyes. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says more than 40% of the time arms and hands are injured. 1 in 5 injuries involves the trunk or legs. The remaining 38% is the head and eyes. Overall, more than half of all injuries are burns, which is what caused part of the damage to Jamison Lamb's eye.
It can happen to you. You're not immune from it.
Go to a professional fireworks celebration, have a great time, and enjoy your 4th of July.
And never give fireworks, even sparklers, to children. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission says that sparklers can burn at 2,000 degrees. That is enough to melt some metals. Summer is the perfect time for enjoying barbecues and also a time to keep a close eye on your children if they have food allergies. Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic say food allergies should be at the top of your mind at a barbecue or picnic. Doctors say if a child has a food allergy, it is important to check with mom or dad ahead of time. They encourage parents not to be afraid to use an EpiPen if a child eats something by mistake. A panel of experts says people who are very physically active should only drink water when they feel thirsty. The new guidelines were developed at the International Exercise Associated Hyponatremia Conference in California. Experts say aggressive drinking to prevent dehydration is unnecessary. They say it carries a greater risk of hyponatremia, which means the level of sodium in your blood is abnormally low. Warning signs include headache, vomiting, confusion, and seizures. These symptoms develop as the brain swells. Without treatment, the condition can be deadly.